And I think we are live. Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? Can everyone see us, hear us? Please send a message on the chat if you can already see us. Hello, hello. Hey everyone. Welcome again to another webinar at VanHack. We are very happy to be here with Carol. Carol, thank you so much for joining us today. Carol has a very special story with VanHack, and we are going to cover everything about it on this webinar. So, Carol, thank you again and welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to answer all the questions from the people participating as well.
Awesome. So everyone who has questions, please use the chat. We are gonna take a moment in the end to answer your questions. So Carol, first things first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Carol Darsky. I've been living in Canada for 3 years, almost 3 years now. I moved here in October 2017. I came with a work permit to work for a company in Vancouver, a startup, as a senior full stack engineer. And then through my journey there, I became a team lead. And now I moved to another company and I'm an engineer manager there. So a lot happened. And also I became a mom in the middle of the pandemic, which is fun. So a lot of new things happening.
Awesome. That's a whole new journey, right? And
Yeah.
Carol, can you tell us a little bit how your story with VanHack started?
Yes. So in 2017, we had, I don't know if it was the first Van Hackathon, but it was one of the first editions for sure. And Van Hackathon was an event that anyone could join. It was a free event that was pretty awesome. We had like several companies that applied to participate in the event as well. And they had like challenges. So we built like our teams and we could choose a challenge to work on. And at that time, we choose Thinkific Challenge. I joined with my husband and another two friends, senior engineers as well. And we worked the entire weekend. It was like crazy, but it was so rewarding because they had like a real life problem that they were facing. So it was really nice to have like that touch of understanding the business context for them as well. And after the Van Hackathon, I was so pumped. And I told Ilya afterwards, like, I think I was like sleep drunk because I had like, I think 3 or 4 hours of sleep the entire weekend. And I decided to apply for opening that they had. And Ilya helped me, and Julia and everyone in VanHack helped me all the way through. So I was pretty nervous because before that, I sent my resume to like more than 40 or 50 companies in Canada, and I never heard the answer back. Not through VanHack, of course. It was like through other job boards. And I was like, oh, I cannot do it. Like, this is not real. This is just like something that a few people can get it. And then when I did the hackathon and I got to know VanHack, I was like, okay, maybe there is a way of making this work. And then when I applied, like everyone on VanHack helped me all the way. And like for each step, they even get like feedback from the company and send me like directly because I was so nervous about it because it was like my first like like a broad process that I did because someone answered me finally like my resume and decided to schedule interviews. So it was really amazing. I had like all the support that I needed, and not only the support about like what to ask and things like that, because in Brazil, at least at that time, when you like interviewed for companies locally, you kind of don't ask a lot about, at least at that time, you didn't ask a lot about like the company culture, things like that, that here in Canada is like really strong and is really different as well. I don't know how it is right now, like currently in Brazil, but I know things changed. But that was new for me. And VanHack like helped me get all the info that I needed to do like a good interview process. I felt like I was prepared to do it, which was amazing. And each step that I was like advancing was rewarding because I felt like, okay, I'm ready for the next step because I had all the tools that I needed. So it was amazing. And then I think it was April that I was hired. To work at Thinkific. That is an amazing company in Vancouver. And they are also VanHack partners that I know. And they are still hiring, by the way. And they are like an amazing company, have amazing culture. And then I stayed there for almost 3 years. So I started working remotely until my visa got like processed and everything. And then I got the okay in October, like first, I think. And then I just like traveled the next week to Canada. It was crazy. And then we moved together, me and my partner, and I stayed at Thinkific for 3 years. Then I saw that maybe it was time for a new challenge in my career, and I decided to start at Rotific. That is the company that I'm currently working on as engineer manager. That is also an amazing company, and we're also hiring, and we also use VanHack. So stay tuned.
That's awesome. And Carol, you had a long journey inside the first company you worked with on Thinkific, right? You became a leader, you became a manager. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So when I started as a full stack engineer. It was a great learning opportunity because previously I had worked with web apps, but Thinkific was having like real startup challenges at the time when I joined because they were trying to scale. So I learned a lot like about scaling a company and everything with them, and they are amazing. Like all the people that I made friends for life there. And then after a year and a half, I became a team lead. So I was managing a few people in my team, making sure that we were delivering what we committed to, and also coding. So that was fun because I didn't stop coding, and this is something that I don't expect to stop because I love coding. It's like the best thing ever. It's so satisfying to see like something go into production, people actually using it and giving feedback about it. So after that, I stayed as a team lead for almost another 1 year and a half. And then when I moved at Rotific, I was a little bit unsure about my career. I was like, sorry. I wasn't sure about like, do I want to keep managing people? Because I love the mentoring part. I love the career development growth, but I wasn't sure if I should like maybe focus on the tech lead side, and maybe become a principal engineer or something like that. So when I moved to Routific, I moved as a senior engineer back because I was like, yeah, let's try it again and let's see how it goes. But then 3 months in, I realized like, no, it's my passion and I love that. So they were amazing as well, and they gave me the promotion to become an engineer manager. I still code, which is awesome, and I can then just work with like what makes me mostly happy. That is like making sure that people grow and they have all the tools that they need.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's better. Amazing that you still can do the both of the things that you love. We have
Yeah.
a question here that I think we can answer right now. So, did you find challenging to adapt to work in a new cultural environment, different from Brazil, Canada?
Yeah, so that's funny actually, because I feel that in Brazil, even that you work like 42 hours per week, people expect that you work more. And then you have like that hustle that you're like always working and you don't have any work-life balance. And then when I started to work for Thinkific, everyone was like, chill, Carol, like it's fine. Like you're gonna have like your learning curve. It's okay. And I was like freaking out because for me, that was like totally different. Uh, at least in my past experience in Brazil, when I started in a new job, I had to be up to speed like in a week or two. and like here in Canada, at least the experience that I have, everyone really they really put the employee first, and they are like mental health and making sure that like they have everything that they need, that they don't need to work like, I don't know, 12 hours per day, which is amazing. So it was a shock for sure. Another thing, I used to work at SAP in Brazil before joining Thinkific, and I had a little bit of English in my daily basis. And I thought, like, maybe it's not enough or things like that. And I was also taking some classes to like improve and everything. But then when I started, I saw that we create this, I don't know, this parallel reality in our head that people will ask you to talk like perfect English, otherwise they won't talk to you or whatever. And that's not true. Like people just want to understand you. And they understand that also sometimes you come from non-English like countries, and that's fine. Like you're doing your best, like you're already talking two different languages, which is amazing. And they really appreciate that. And this is something that for me it was like, oh my god, like why I was stressing out about it, because it's so okay. And it's amazing that everyone that I worked with had this mentality. So I feel that this is kind of cultural, I believe. And it's like a really good really good experience to go through that.
Amazing. And Carol, can you talk a little bit about your tech stack? People always ask our candidates what the skills they work with, the technologies.
Yeah, and that's funny, by the way, because like before I start applying abroad and even before joining Thinkific, I was working with Java, Spring, and like working only on the back end. I didn't know anything about like React or all that stuff that was a trend at that time, like was like a hype on that time because it was something new. And even that, when I applied for Thinkific, their stack was Ruby on Rails, React, like Node.js. They had some stuff on Node.js and Golang as well. And doing the process, like I was like really sincere, like I don't know Ruby on Rails, I don't know React, but I want to learn. And that's the thing. And one thing that the CTO at the time told me that I carry with me like until today when I'm interviewing other people is that if you know how to code in one language, you're gonna learn like faster in other, and that's okay. And I thought it was so genuine that like he truly believes in the person's potential, not like only on the experience that they have, on the tech stack that they are used to work with. So that was like really great. So right now I worked with Ruby on Rails, React, a bit of Node.js and Golang, and now I've been working with Node.js, TypeScript, and React. So I've been changing tech stacks through the time, but it's really fun. Like I really love it, and it's pretty great.
Oh, that's amazing. And Carol, you made a double change on your work. You not only changed work, but you also changed cities, right? You were living in Vancouver and now you're living in Calgary. Can you tell us a little bit about the difference, about how do you what you love about both cities? A lot of people wouldn't consider Calgary to live. So can you tell a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, so I think Vancouver is a great city. I love Vancouver. Like it's really beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful cities I ever visited, like or ever lived. Honestly, it's amazing. It's like breathtaking because you have the mountains, you have the sea, and you have everything in one landscape, which is awesome. And you're like 2 hours away from Whistler. There's another like little paradise. So it's like amazing. But we lived in Vancouver for 2 years and a half, and then we decided to move to Calgary because of thinking about like growing the family and everything. We wanted to live in a house instead of an apartment. Um, and then in Vancouver, things get a little bit tricky when you're talking about houses because the live cost in Vancouver, it's quite high. Like the salaries, of course, they also match that, so you can have like a good life and also save some money while you're living there. But we had the opportunity to both me and my husband to work remotely, and then we decided to come to Calgary. And fun fact, it was like the CTO from Think Effect that told me about Calgary. I didn't know about it. I was one day complaining at the kitchen in the word pre-pandemic, before the pandemic, when we could like work in offices. I was complaining in the kitchen like about the living costs in Vancouver, and saying like I cannot ever afford like my own place and things like that. And he was like, yeah, did you check out Calgary? Because he had lived there for like I think 8 years or something like that. And I was like, nope. And my husband and I, we decided to spend a week in Calgary to get to know the city first, and we fell in love with it because there is like a river that like go across the city, and it's beautiful. The downtown is also beautiful. We are like 2 hours from them, so it's in all the Canadian Rockies, so it's amazing. And then we decided to move. And we moved here. Then we could like settle. We found our place. So a lot of things happened, and I really love Calgary because it has like that feeling of a small city. Because there's like a lot of suburbs, and if people want to feel like the downtown, like big city aspect of things, they can live downtown. That's fine. So I really, really love Calgary.
Amazing. And Carol, I have another question that I'd like to do for you. Being a woman in tech, especially for the past years, things are improving. We have seen a lot of changes. But did you feel a difference when you arrived in Canada, when, with your team, with your experience?
So yes, I saw a difference. It's a cultural difference, I would even say, which is it's not an excuse for like sexism or anything on the area, but I feel that here in Canada, we are one step ahead. So of course there are situations of sexism that happens, and I know that people that experience that, but it's kind of not rare, but it's less than in Brazil for sure. Also, one thing is that when people don't realize they are being sexist, and you sit down and talk to them about it, say, okay, this was sexist, and let's talk about it, and you explain why, people actually listen to it. And they, in my experience, all the situations that I had, they actually listen to it and they improve like a lot. So they care. I think that's amazing. Like it's another level that I wasn't used to. Honestly, I was surprised like the first time that I was like, okay, this wasn't great. Like, let's sit and talk about it. And the person was like, really accepted well, and like they understood, and they made the change, which was amazing. So I feel there is a huge difference. It's still there's a lot to go to have like bring more women to tech and everything, but Canada itself, like the government has like programs to help that. So for example, we have girls learning code, that is like a program from the government to teach young girls to code. We have like women Canada women coding, if I'm not mistaken, as well. That is another one focusing on people that identify themselves as women. So that's amazing. I feel that we have support from the government as well. Could be better, of course, for several areas, but it's something. I really feel that here we have progress at least.
That's amazing. And Carol, let's get back a little bit on your journey before you get hired. You talked a lot about preparation and how you prepare yourself a lot. Can you tell us a little bit, how did you do that? What did you do? What was the key points on your preparation process to help you get hired?
Sure. So I think it's like make your research. So first things first, take a look on the company website, understand their culture, write down any questions that you have that is not clear on their website about it. Make sure to check the job description and see what they ask for. And I think that's the key, is to be yourself as well, like, and make sure that you're not like lying or anything in the resume to match that job description. You need to be real and say like, okay, maybe I don't have that skill, and just be clear about it, and let them know that you're like, you want to learn or you want to conquer that weakness that you have, and to become a strength. And I think that's like the key points. And make sure to have questions. I think that's the key thing. Like, ask all the questions that you have about the company, about like even salary, about benefits, about the culture, how the team works, how does the product work. If they have like a web product that you can try it out, I would say go and try it out, and ask any questions that you have based on that. So you try it out first, and then you can say to them like, I'm interested in the company, and I'm so interested that I'm taking a look on how the product works. I think that's amazing. So those are like the key points, I would say.
Amazing, amazing. And speak of preparation, for everyone who's in this webinar, we have a special promotion from our Premium Academy this week, because yesterday was VanHack's 60th anniversary, so we are celebrating that. So everyone who wants to join Premium Academy, we have classes from Monday to Thursday, interview class that will help you prepare for your job abroad. We have technical, behavior interview, English for working interview as well. You also have access to a lot of courses on our platform, a special community. You can also get a profile review to help get your VanHack profile to shine and display the best of your experience. And only this week, until the end of the week, until the end of July, you can get 40 Canadian dollars off on our semi-annual and quarterly subscription. So if you want to help prepare, yes, awesome. And Carol, we had a question here. If you prefer Vancouver or Calgary now that you're living in Calgary.
Yeah, I prefer Calgary, but I think it's two different times of my life. I prefer Calgary right now because I already know how Vancouver works, and I got to know a little bit more of Canada in general as well. So I went visiting Toronto and Quebec and Montreal. Quebec City is beautiful, by the way. And I got that experience, and now that I have a baby and I'm growing family, I was like, okay, I need to go to the suburb because I want that feeling. So that's why I prefer Calgary right now. But in the past, I would say like Vancouver for sure, because it was a big city. We had everything there, like everything that I even mean, like even Brazilian stores close to downtown. We had like some Brazilian restaurants close to downtown as well. But of course, in Calgary, we have the best Brazilian barbecue places.
Amazing. And Carol, you mentioned at the beginning that you got hired after a hackathon was one of our first virtual events. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience with the event itself?
Yeah, so the event was amazing. We got to know like all the companies that were like giving us challenges that we could choose. We had like a Slack channel that we could communicate with all of them. We were even communicate with VanHack people as well to help us out on the things that we needed. We we had questions about our challenge at the time, and I think it was Ilya that was kind enough like to ping the director of people and culture at Thinkific to answer our questions because they were in a retreat. So they weren't checking like the computers at all. And we got like all the answers that we needed to complete the challenge. And it was like a really, really great experience. Also, we had the opportunity to present what in a video, what we delivered. And I think that was key to like have a first, they could have a first impression of ourselves that we built that solution. So it was a really amazing event.
Also, speaking of event, we have an open event on our platform. We are going to have a virtual hiring event for women in tech in September. It's our second event for women in tech this year. The first one, we got more than 20 hires, so we are very excited about it. I'm going to put the link on the chat so you can check. The event will be in September, but the applications are already open and the selection already started. So check the requirements of the event, and if you are a fit, please apply. And Carol, speaking of challenges and new things, you are embracing a very special new challenge on your life, right? You told us you became a mom in the middle of the pandemic. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was fun and scary at the same time. So of course we weren't seeing anyone because of the pandemic. Everyone was isolating and making sure to not have contact, to not spread the virus. And then I figured out like July last year that I was pregnant. And it was a mix of a mix of feelings because I was really happy. It was something that I was planning in maybe in some years already. But then I was like, okay, let's embrace it. It's fine. One thing that I thought it was amazing here is that when I called the clinic to schedule my first appointment, the nurse, as we couldn't go to the office to do a pre-scanning before scheduling the appointment, the nurse asked me like a lot of questions about like, do you want to have the baby? Do you like, are you feeling comfortable with the decision? Are you not being pressured? And all of that stuff that I never heard anything like that before. Like I never heard that kind of experience, and I was like shocked in a positive way because I felt they care so much about it, and they want to make sure that like people are good mentally, like they are happy with the decision, and it's like their decision. And I think that's like amazing. And then once everything started, I started figuring out that like here in Canada, the health system is pretty different from Brazil. So all the friends, my friends that had babies, they had like only one choice that it would go with an OB in Brazil, at least in the past. And here you have like other professionals that you can use. You can use like a family doctor, or you can use like a midwife, or you can use an OB. And learning all those different things, like it was amazing. Even like I was in the beginning thinking, oh my God, I saw those like Canadians, like really Canadians women having like babies at home. That's crazy. I thought to myself, and then I start like learning about it because here in Alberta, when you go to have your first consult when you're pregnant, they give you like a huge book. I'm not kidding, it's like a 500-page book talking about like all the changes on your body, all the things that you need to know, like preparing you for like the pregnant life. And that's amazing because they explain like all the difference between like the professionals and everything, and how you can have a baby. And also they support you having a baby at home, of course, with a midwife that is going to be there, and if something happens you can go to the hospital. And I started learning, and I was like, oh my God, I think I want to have my baby at home. That's crazy. And of course, it didn't happen because I had some complications in the end. My blood pressure was slightly high, and then the baby decided to come the day that we went to the hospital check. So it was fun, but it was like a really different experience. But honestly, people here are the best. I had like the best experience ever in the hospital. Their nurses were so friendly. They even that I was with my blood pressure slightly high, they give me meds, and the OB that was like in the shift, she said like to my midwife, no, you can do the delivery, that's fine, I'm just gonna watch in case something like happens, just gonna be there, but you can do the delivery. Because they were like so sad that like I had like all this plan of having the baby at home, and then I had to go to the hospital. So people were amazing in the middle of pandemic. I never imagined that I could see so much empathy, uh, like in one place. It was like an amazing thing. And yeah, now I have a 4.5 month old at home. I'm juggling that and coming back to work, which is fun. But we are learning a lot. Like we are learning every day is like a new thing that we learn, so it's amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine. And that would be my next question was exactly like that. How is balancing the maternity with work? How is this going?
Yeah, so I think the key here is to find a company that like really cares about you as a person. All my experience, I had that, and I think that's why it made me going back to work easier. Of course, here in Canada, I could have stayed at home, like having the employment insurance from the government for a year or 18 months. And this is something that me and my partner we could share. But I decided to go back to work because it's a huge thing for me, and I felt like I needed it, like for my mental health. And also, we still things are getting better now, but we were still like in the middle of the pandemic, and I felt like I needed that. So it has been a challenge. I'm not gonna lie. Like for example, my baby's teething right now, so she's slept like 2 hours in the previous 2 nights, and we manage it. That's fine. But like the thing is that at work I can say like, okay, I didn't have any sleep last night. I'm gonna take like a nap in the afternoon, and then I'm gonna come back like later. And people are like, fine, like go rest, don't worry about it, or like take a mental health break. That's fine as well, or take a personal day. It's okay. So when I had like when I took my baby to do her 4 month shots here in Canada, I she got like sick afterwards, which is normal. She got a little bit of fever and everything, and people were like, "No, like go stay with her. Like don't worry about work at all." And that's really amazing. Like to know that a company have your back and supports you make things way easier because you don't feel that guilt of being like when you're working you're like, oh my god, my baby is like there like sleeping or whatever, but you're like, oh my god, I should be with her. Like no, it's fine, like because I know that if I want to be with her I can. So that's really great.
Yeah, that's really, really great. And Carol, you were already hiring people to work with you, right? So I'd like to ask you a little bit about the other side of the selection process, because you've been through an international hiring process, but you already hired people from that. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience hiring people? Did you hire people from abroad? How was it?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. I've been doing like hiring process, being the interviewer for 2 years and a half now, because I started doing it Thinkific already. They trained me and they gave me like all the knowledge that I have today is because of them. And I helped in more than 50 interviews, I guess, and code reviews as well, like from technical challenges. And we hired people from like back there, from Brazil, from Ukraine, from Nigeria, from UK, if I'm not mistaken. So from like a lot of countries. And at Rotific, we had like open positions last year in the end of the year, and I interviewed like several people from abroad as well, from India, from Brazil, from like a lot of countries. And we hired recently like two Brazilians. So one of them is wants to keep working remotely from Brazil for now, and the other one is we are sponsoring his visa, so he's coming once everything like it's ready, probably next year. So he's going to be arriving in Vancouver. So yeah, like there are a lot of people like that interview with us, and we go through all of them. Uh, from the other side, what I can say, like just stick to the tips that I gave earlier, like company research, make sure to be yourself, think about like technical challenge that you had in your career and come prepared with that. I think those are the key elements.
Yeah, that's amazing. During your process hiring people, was there any specific step on the hiring process that you feel that people would struggle more? And if yes, do you have any tips for people?
Yes, so it's mostly about like their personal journey, professional journey, sorry. We ask about like situations, for example, where they received the feedback and how did they act on that. And people struggle a little bit to answer that because they're not expecting, I guess. And sometimes they can even like bring something to us or like even an area that they want to improve for themselves as professionals. And we are not talking about only about like hard skills, tech skills. We're talking about soft skills as well. And sometimes, and I was on that side as well, so I know sometimes we focus too much on the technical side and we don't think, okay, maybe I should get better at speaking in public or should get better on giving feedback or receiving feedback. This was a struggle that I had in the past. And I was like, yeah, I should be conscious about that. And so take some time to self-reflect before like getting some interviews and understand like what are your strengths, what are the points, like the areas that you want to improve, because everyone has areas to improve and that's fine. And if you're like real about it and you talk about it, people won't get it as like, oh, this person is like good or bad. No, we want to understand how you approach problems and how you act on them.
Yeah, that those are really great tips. So guys, take notes on that. So, Carol, also a lot of people who are considering working abroad, they have some hesitation regarding the work visa. Will that work out? What happened after it finished? So, you've been in Canada over 3 years now. So, you've been through this process. Have you started your PR process already?
Yeah, I already have the PR. We are going to apply for citizenship this year. So, yeah.
Perfect. Can you tell us a little bit about this process? How was it from the, did you have some hesitation in the beginning as well? And how was it after arriving, go to the PR and now going to the citizenship?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I was really afraid because it wasn't like when I heard about like visa sponsorship, I was like, okay, what the hell does that mean? Sorry for my language, but like what is like what that entails, how long it's gonna like be valid and things like that. And VanHack at the time they sat down with me and said like they explained everything. So they were like, oh no, it's gonna be a 2 year work visa. We are gonna help you through the process if you need. But then at that time, Thinkific did everything for me. So they had like their own consultant. I just sent the docs and they did everything, which was amazing. And I went through the LMA process. So the LMA process, if I'm not mistaken, need to have like 5 years of experience on the area and also a degree on the area. Or a degree in the area, sorry. And I it was like really quick. I was like concerned that oh, this is gonna take like 4 months. I don't know, 5, 6 months. The LMA took 2 weeks at the time, of course, and the work permit took a little bit longer. Took like 1 month and a half. But I had like other colleagues that applied and got in 2 weeks at that time. I know that right now that those processing times are not realistic because of the pandemic, but at that time in 2017, it was like really fast. And when we arrived in Canada, of course, we were a little bit afraid, like, okay, maybe I don't know if they don't like me in person and I lost my job, what's going to happen? I don't know. We got like several scenarios in our head. And the thing is that people won't give you they want to sponsor your visa if they don't trust your abilities. And I think this is something that we need to keep in mind and not worry about it so much. And I saw that everything was fine after that, so I started like doing my English test because I didn't need an English test for the work visa, it was just documents. And then I did my English test for the PR. So I started preparing during that first year. I got the grades that I needed, and then I started like translating all the documents that I needed for the PR. So I created my profile. I did all by myself, but I don't recommend that because it's a lot of stress. So if you can get like a consultant company, better. It's the best because they know like how everything works. You don't need to spend like your entire time looking at the government websites trying to understand what they want. And we got through our PR through the senior class, if I'm not mistaken, um, process on the PR. So with that, there is like several tracks that you can get the PR, and one of them is the provincial process that you can apply, and then you get like 500 points. So you already get the PR. It's like crazy because the where they cut the points is like around 400, if I'm not mistaken, in something. So there's that process, but we didn't went through that because then you need to stay in the province for some time. We then did the senior class track that we already had 1 year working in Canada. So we don't need to like show any reports from any statements from our bank account or anything. So we don't need to, we skip some steps, let's say, because of that track. And then we got the PR like in 5 or 6 months. Yeah, 5 or 6 months we got our PR card. Was amazing, and then now we are prepared for the citizenship. But the really good thing is that the government here have like a lot of tools that can help you like know if you are ready or not for the citizenship, for example. So you have like one that you can put like all your travel dates there, and it calculates if when you can ask for the citizenship, because you need to stay in Canada for a period of time to be able to ask for the request of citizenship. So yeah, like it's awesome. Like I'm really proud how easy it is to get to stay here.
That's really, really amazing to hear. So everyone here who is afraid, Carol is here to tell you that don't be, right?
Yeah.
And
So
Carol,
I just saw,
oh, go
sorry.
ahead.
I just saw one question. So Stephanie asked me if I took IELTS. No, I did CELPIP. That is a test that they have here in Canada.
Awesome. And Carol, we talked a little bit about the challenge of having a baby in the middle of the pandemic. I'd also would like to ask about your work during the pandemic. So, everything stopped. We had to become remote, not go to the office. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was typing the chat. Can you please
No
repeat?
problem at all. Can you tell me a little bit about the changes of the work during the pandemic? So you had to adapt to working in a remote environment. How was it?
Yeah, so for us, it wasn't that bad because we moved to Calgary to work remotely right when the pandemic starts. It was like March 1st when we moved here last year. So for us was fine, but I can talk a little bit about the experience from my coworkers and the people that report to me that are in Vancouver. So what happened is that, just one sec here. So what happened is that everyone like was used to the office, right? So it was a shock in the beginning to get used to like home environment. Some people like didn't even have like the setup at home to work from home. So they were struggling a little bit. Of course, our company, they helped, like they gave a budget for everyone so they could like use to buy like desks or stand-up desks if they want, good chairs and monitors and everything, which helped a lot them. But at the same time, there was like the mental struggle, right? Because you had to be locked at home. So it was hard, I'm not gonna lie. What we did, we had like several check-ins with everyone, and even with the team as a whole. Like we create like coffee breaks on our calendars that we could just like put the Zoom on and grab some coffee and chat about anything. And the thing is that that helped a lot. I feel that now people are more used to, and honestly, we didn't come back to the office yet, even that we can, because our company is making sure that like everyone feels safe if they go to the office, because they will have the option to go to the office, but we don't expect that we don't expect or like don't it's not mandatory to be in the office. We are like a remote first company. We have people across Canada already, so it doesn't make sense. The office is just a space for people if they want. Is there, it's like a co-working, let's say, almost. It's just there for them if they want. The good thing is that our company as well, Rotific, we already had like this work from home flexibility. So there were people that already worked from home like four days a week. So they will just went to the office in one day, and there were people that were traveling as well across Canada and working remotely, and that's fine. So it wasn't like a big change for them, but I know that for people that used to go to the office every day because they wanted to, um, it was hard. So yeah, we tried to like learn some tips and tricks on how to make everyone feel a little bit more comfortable at those like really bad times.
Amazing. And I have a question here, Carol, about the how was it for your partner? Was it easy to find a job? Was it easy to adapt? How was it for you and your partner when you arrived?
Yeah, so the thing is that when you have an open working permit, everything gets easier. He got a job even before we got in the plane, so it was I think the same day even. He got like an offer confirming because then you can apply to any company, and honestly, there's a lot of companies hiring here, and not only tech companies. That's the thing. Like if your partner works in other things, of course, it don't require like to do like a test to prove their skills or like to like I don't know, medics or doctors or nurses. I know that they need to go through an exam, for example, to be able uh, to work on their profession here. If they're like on other areas that don't require that, it's pretty easy. There's like a lot of jobs, and they love. And that's the thing about Canada. They really love immigrants. They embrace it, and it's not love in the sense of like let's explore because they are immigrants, but it's in the sense that they feel that is like they're learning about another culture, and they really appreciate that.
Amazing, amazing. And Carol, we are coming to an end here. It's been amazing. I want to ask you if you have any final special tips for the Van hackers who are right now looking for a job abroad as well.
I think as you're gonna receive a lot of no's, and that's normal. And don't please don't get down by it. Go to the next one, and that's okay. The only thing that I say, ask for feedback. So if you have the opportunity to ask for feedback in the end to understand like where can you improve or what were the things that were missing on your profile, please do that. I know that's some companies they just give like extend or no, but always try, because if you can get even that from 10 no's you get like one piece of feedback, that's already a lot. And you can improve and then go to the next one. I think that's the key.
That's a very, very good advice, Carol. So, Carol, thank you so much. It was amazing again hearing about your story, your new challenges. Thank you so much for taking this time to talk to us. And everyone, if you have any questions, our team is going to be on Slack, and you can send an email to contact@vanhack.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.